And welcome to the Monday edition of your favorite program on television, Inside Nigeria. Today is May 6th, 2024. And of course, my name is Winifred Igwebo, your host on the program. As we normally do on the show, on this first segment, we review front headline stories on some select newspapers, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Of course, this morning we also have a sister publication among papers to review national economy. Let's start off with leadership. Leadership's main headline story today says artificial intelligence here grieves financial sector over data abuse threats. I'll take that again. In artificial intelligence here grieves financial sector over data abuse threats. And we have illustration beneath that main headline story. $500 million, Nigeria loses 675 billion annually to cyber crimes. Banks lost 8 billion naira to cyber crimes in 2022. 71% of companies reported different cyber attacks. 50.5 billion naira was lost to fraud between 2019 and July 2023. The illustration beneath leadership's main headline story today, Monday, May 6, 2024, on artificial intelligence. Fear grips financial sector over data abuse threats. Beside that main headline story, local government election, Yaga seeks review of electoral laws. Yaradua's handover note to Jonathan was hijacked, brother. Shettima off to US for Africa Business Summit. NECA's power supply to Benin, Niger, Togo. The story runs on page 19 of leadership. NECA's power supply to Benin, Niger, Togo. We move up to the stories just inching closer to the masthead. Coastal Highway, Tinubu's son on Chagri board RT2. The story is on page 24 of leadership. Of course, the story that has been whipping up controversy since it stated that Nigeria has already contacted or given the approval to Chagri company to construct Coastal Highway from Lagos to Calabar. Coastal Highway, Tinubu's son on Chagri board article alleges. And on the business boards of leadership, federal government mum over request by techniques to raise tariffs. Above the masthead of leadership, Zenith Bank grows earnings by 189% in first quarter. NNPP cautions Tinubu against military pact with US France. The story is on page 24 of leadership. We got to move to the page 3 of the paper where we have the editorial, which is under our stand. Our stand today is on increasing hardship in Nigeria. Increasing hardship in Nigeria. With that, we move to the back page. We have Monday column with Dr. Side. This week is writing on the minimum wage issue, numbers versus value. Of course, these are interesting stories today, especially the headline stories and the inside TV. You don't want to miss any of these. Log on to the website of leadership, www.leadership.nc. From leadership, we move to the sister publication, which is a weekly business paper, National Economy. National Economy's headline story this week says unauthorized operators post threat as Nigeria records 1.9 billion naira POS fraud in 1 year. Unauthorized operators post threat as Nigeria records 1.9 billion naira POS, that is point of sales fraud, in 1 year. And the riders, fraudsters adapt swiftly to new channels, regulatory precautions, and experts say how to beat them to their game. The story you have to read because they're giving a cashless society the signal wants to operate. Many Nigerians are taking to POS for their financial transactions. And national economy this week says Nigeria records 1.9 billion naira POS fraud in 1 year. Underneath that, we have ending multi-billion naira yearly loss to Lagos Port traffic gridlock. The story is on page 21 of national economy. And other stories racing this week's cover says Nigeria loses $9 billion annually to post-harvest waste. 34.3% of employees unemployed Nigerians impoverished by low-skilled, low-paid jobs, according to report. The story runs on page 5 of National Economy. For continuation of this week's National Economy news, inside stories, and of course the editorial, log on to the website of National Economy, www.nationaleconomy.com. From National Economy, we move to the Nation newspaper. Nation's newspaper main headline story is, of course, it's sharing to begin with. Government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grants to small firms. 1 million businesses in 774 local councils to benefit from free cash. 700 Nigeria has 774 local councils. What this story means is that 1 million businesses across the north and south of the country, from in which local government area is to benefit, is to have 1 million naira. Sorry, is to have a part, a grant of that 50 billion naira. Government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grants to small firms. Underneath that main headline stories, rise in non-performing loans stunted manufacturing worrisome. Rise in non-performing loans stunted manufacturing worrisome. MPC members suggest way out. Banks await CBN's decision of submitted recapitalization plans. How financial institutions plans to raise 8 billion naira. Southeast Development Commission will address 50 years of neglect, says Kali. And above, just beneath the masthead of the nation, Vice President Shetima Intezas for US Africa Business Summit, on page 5 of the nation. It's also in leadership, as I read before this. Above the masthead of the nation, AD charting course for fiscal stability, economic prosperity. Why UK stops students from bringing families by envoy. Zenith Bank's grossed 781 billion naira in fourth quarter. Benue school buildings out of fashion, says India. The story is on page 7 of the nation. Find out what is going to do about that. Of course, that also concludes the review of the Nation newspaper this Monday, May 6, 2024. For continuation of this headline story, log on to the website of the nation. From the Nation, we move to the Punch headline story. Says Lagos Calabar Highway, Techosphere shut down as construction threatens cables. Lagos Calabar Highway, Techosphere shut down as construction threatens cables. Undersea fiber cables linking Europe to Nigeria pass through construction corridor. ATCON. NDLEA seizes 4,752 kg cannabis concealed in Abuja gas tanker. Of course, that goes with the picture on the cover of the Punch newspaper. We can actually see the Abuja gas tanker being displayed and the cannabis besides it. NDLEA seizes 4,752 kg cannabis concealed in Abuja gas tanker. Underneath that, we have police IMN trade wars over alleged child scheming in Kaduna. Foreign scholars lament 11-month unpaid allowances face ejection. 19 fleeing Niger inmates recaptured, 100 at large, NCOS. 19 fleeing Niger inmates recaptured, 100 at large. Beside the masthead of the Punch, abduction detections, echoes of Abacha era media clampdown resound under Tinubu. Abductions, detentions, echoes of Abacha era media clampdown resound under Tinubu. Of course, is a full-page, more than a full-page story on that. This coming at the time Nigeria celebrated World Press Freedom Day on Friday. And the Punch is coming up with a story today that echoes of Abacha era media clampdown resound under Tinubu. And above the masthead of the Punch, Tinubu to get ministers' first quarter assessment report. 9 banks earmarked 383 billion naira for legal dispute claims. Dangote, Unilever, 5 others caught 1,281 jobs in 1 year, according to reports. And of course, with that, we conclude the review of the Punch newspaper this Monday morning. For continuation of these headline stories and inside stories and the editorial and the special report on the media, you log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. From the Punch, we move to the last paper on our menu on this first half of the program, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard's main headline story says local firms IOCs to bid for 12 onshore, 7 deep offshore oil blocks as federal government rules investors at OTC 2024. The main headline story today on Vanguard newspaper. Beneath that, marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters third week. Marketers remain upbeat as petrol scarcity enters third week. Minister weighs in as condemnation trace FIJ's journalist arrest. Of course, that also makes up the story the Punch newspaper has on media clampdown today. Minister weighs in as condemnation trace FIJ journalist arrest. And in sports, 2026 World Cup, Super Eagles will beat South Africa, Benin, Finibi. Beside the main headline story on Vanguard, we have Edo Guba, Obaseki Des Obi-led legacy group. Edo Guba, Obaseki Des Obi-led legacy group. Multiple checks found NSA move to reduce security agents at airports. Employers labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. Above the masthead of Vanguard, while FDIs continue to elude Nigeria, article. Zenith Bank grows gross earnings by 189% to 782 billion naira in first quarter of this year, 2024. And of course, Vanguard has more than interview how Nigerians can identify fake electricity meters by Tahi Aliyu, Lemsa, DMD. And with that, we conclude the review of Vanguard newspaper this Monday morning. For continuation of this headline stories, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. With Vanguard, we also conclude the first half of this segment of the show, Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, my Monday guest is in the house, and stay tuned for the second part of the program. To the second half of the program, Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Incredible once again, and I have my Monday guest in the studio. It's been a while having him around. He's a political economist, Aliyu Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you around.
Good morning to our viewers.
Yes, good morning, viewers. Yes, so many stories are still trending on today. Of course, different stories gracing covers of the select newspapers we have on our menu. We'll go with leadership first. Artificial intelligence fear grips financial sector over data abuse theft.
Right. It's quite instructive to be careful at this age because of many things appear to be real and they are not actually real. And you remember, there was this thing that bank brings, which one? Some have ADA, some have all those things.
Those are artificial intelligence.
Yes, they are actually responding to you. So sometimes it's quite dangerous. I've used some of them. I think one by Kuda. So the fact just is that we just have to be extra careful. And I'm happy they are expressing that fear
Yeah.
already, because with fintech a lot of things happening. You could see people directing the money wire to another person to another account. So I think it's quite instructive. That means, like I always said, to really tame all these people, you have to also be in the cloud to really tame them. So I think it's instructive to be careful. And perhaps if you also look at the national economy, say Nigeria records 1.9
Oh
billion
yes, I was even
POS
going to
fraud
that. Yes.
in 1 year.
Yeah,
I think
it's quite huge.
I'm also part of the victim, because there's a kind of transaction that we did before we know. We don't know how it is. We saw 150,000 naira deducted in a particular account, and up to now we find it difficult to. By the time you trace this, it becomes so cumbersome. And Nigeria process also. If you go to the police or any complain, the process itself is tiring, and you have to let it go. And the challenge is that if you don't tame one, it becomes in thousand, and you know how Nigerian law. So I think CBN itself needs that. They have to do more in terms of technology to really tame, and they must be proactive.
And just look at the riders beneath that main headline story that banks lost 8 billion naira to cyber crimes in 2022, just 2 years ago, and 50.5 billion naira was lost to fraud between 2019 and July 2023. 70.1% of companies reported different cyber attacks. Now, one begins to wonder, because was it 2 years ago or last year? Leadership reported that the death of IT fintech experts in most of these banks who have actually migrated to Europe, and we even mentioned some banks. So, what are banks doing actually to fill in the gap, to get experts in fintech?
I think all that is glitter is not good. In as much as we want to embrace that technology, what we canvas, even as safe consumer, is that whenever you are building up a fintech, please build security alongside. Yes, because you cannot keep on building solution without security, because it's quite susceptible, because it's technology. So somebody who develop it can also know how to operate. So we have to start building solution alongside every technology, because you won't say new technology should not come. But every technology that we are going to deploy in Nigeria, there must be security, alongside it.
And
I think that was one.
And we saw how porous that was, especially during that that naira redesign policy. Some people were claiming that money were being deducted from their accounts even without them. So how can banks actually bridge the gap?
I think it's even beyond bank. I think it should be Nigeria as a country that we should build up. I think we have a particular agency looking at that security. We need to do more in terms of, because every deployment of technology must be involved and also interrogate
But won't artificial intelligence be able to?
In fact, artificial intelligence is going to expose us more.
Oh, really?
That is not the essence of this. It's going to expose us more, because someone is at the other end communicating with you, and you are seeing picture of someone else. Haven't you seen picture that they were made to sing? Haven't you seen people that I saw one picture of Joe Biden. He's speaking about reading some verses, and it was not him. That is artificial intelligence. So people that are not educated or informed about the impact of artificial intelligence will find it difficult to understand that it is not the right person. So imagine me and you, someday somebody does pick up a phone that we usually communicate with and start communicating with them and showing you a lot of things that look like me. So we must start educating our community, our society, and Nigeria must build up a structure, infrastructure that will help us. And another thing is this. I think Nigeria always tolerates every technology. If you go to advanced countries like VA, US, there's some things, even in China, there are some things that is not operational. They will say that this one, we don't want it here. These are the one we want, the one we can monitor. So Nigeria should start looking at the one they can monitor, the one they can manage and accept. Not everything that will come to our soil that will accept.
So what can they do now with this artificial intelligence? How can they manage it in order not to clamp down on data abuse and theft?
Well, the first thing is to be aware.
One is to be aware of what you have in your hand, and one will be able to close the loose ends.
I must tell you, Nigeria is too open. Everything is being practiced and operated in Nigeria. Until we have a way of saying, no, this is what, remember the loan sharks. It has operated for a long time, and it also have regulatory gap. And that's the problem. Regulatory gap such that CBN is not our area. Leader says no, until FCCPC now came, that's the problem. So there's a regulatory gap. So by now, artificial intelligence in Nigeria should be under a particular regulatory body,
Yes.
and they
But
have
it
to
is
see
under
it.
NACETM. This is under science and tech
Thank
because they have
you.
been
They
converting for
must make sure
Mm.
that every deployment of AI is within their confine and they are aware of it. That is the solution. Because if you allow anybody to deploy what they want, it becomes a problem. And that's why I said to tame such, you must also be in the cloud. Because these people will operate, and there should be an alarm, an alert that will tell you that this thing is being, operational in Nigeria. I think that's the best way to go.
Now, the sister publication also has most similar story to that. Like unauthorized operators pose threats as Nigeria records 1.9 billion naira post POS fraud in 1 year. That is quite huge.
I don't know if you are aware of what happened in Kenya for the last 2 months, whereby a particular bank, once you go there, you can withdraw any amount you want to. Yes, it happens in Kenya. It's just technological error. Yes, you can Google around it. Anybody who goes to the bank withdraw any amount in one until about maybe after some 10 hours or so before they can stop it. These are some gaps that happen. No, we are human, but sometimes we need to also guide against it. Now, POS, especially online banking, we are having issue with them in terms of this POS. I can tell you there's a particular one that is even once people take money from crypto, take money from any, even if they want to even cheat anyone, they go through this particular one, and through it they can withdraw the money. You have one that come with phone. There's a lot of them, so we have to look at it.
What also beats my imagination is that how come fraudsters are more adept at scamming, are more adept at hacking into accounts than even the banks themselves that are supposed to have experts to guide, to guide against it.
Well, the fact is that there is no way an insider will not be giving information to an outsider. And that's why a bank must also have a non-disclosure all those technicalities to make sure they guide against such. Because, you cannot just come to technology and be operating it. Somebody must have exposed you to this. You need to listen to those boys. They have to transfer money. They will say, I got one SIM, I have to do this. Look at it's a process. It's not something that I just wake up and do. So, and somebody must have given them that this works, this doesn't work. These are the things that. Remember the robbery of a bank in Papi?
Just an insider.
They actually bring up such a thing, and he was caught. He couldn't even run from. So that is exactly what is happening. An insider must be part of. So, and that's why banks must also have internal security and internal mechanism to tame such occurrence.
And experts says how to beat them to their game. I actually hope that they'll be able to do
very hard to beat them.
It's very hard. Why
very hard because they keep mutilating. Once you are trying to block them here, they bring up another style. So, and that's why anyone we must make sure they face the full worth of law. Perhaps that would be a detriment, right?
Okay. Wow. So we are still on. We are moving on to this coastal highway. It's still a developing issue. Lagos Calabar coastal highway, still a developing issue. Leadership's main headline story. One of the main headline stories is from Atiku that Tinubu's son is on charge board. However, the Punch newspaper said that having telcos fear shut down as construction threatens cables.
Right. I think in as much as we want development, we don't want a controversial contract. For me, I think the challenge is if you listen to David Umahi, he's trying to justify why they choose high tech, and he's saying that it is because of their technicalities. In procurement, there's what we call single source. What do we mean by single source? Single source simply means that in the whole country, there's only one person that is competent. So you may not have to go and do adverts again. No, since a good example is Julius Berger. When you want to construct something like Third Mainland Bridge,
of course,
do you need to do advert? Because this is the only person that can fix. I think that is what they are saying, that they have letter of no objection from Bureau of Public Procurement that this is the only company, and that's why we are also waiting for Bureau of Public Procurement to also come out and say yes, there's a process they follow on our place, and we agree that yes, it's only one single. So, but beyond that as well, if we have Sheikh Tinubu on board of such thing, I think it's becoming much more closer, because we are saying now on where you have non disclosure. I mean, you have letter of objection, no objection rather, but you have find your son also in
In the
it. So
board of
it's come somehow, becoming something that is becoming suspicious, and it's a whopping amount of money, 15 trillion.
And many are also saying that is at the end of the day, it's going to be an elephant project because it will span almost 30 years to fully
So
realize.
that's a big
And that's exactly
project.
what happened to Eco Atlantic. So what?
Well, for me, I don't think it's going to be elephant project in the long run because as an economist, if you look at the impact of coastal region on our Nigeria economy, we have not tapped into our ocean at all, and that's part of why we have blue economy. So
But we
a
are
lot
not
of
seeing
things.
anything from blue economy.
Well, we are waiting for their KPI. We have this essay on administration. What's her name? That former MP. So Adiza, we're waiting for her to really bring out her report because some of them are just operating. We don't even know what is happening about them. And President Tinubu said is by functionality and performance. So we are waiting for their performance. So on the issue of the coastal road, I think it's quite economical. If we actually, it will even reduce pressure on some other routes, and it has a lot of advantage. We are not tapped into that area, but the thing is this: the contract is becoming much more controversial. So I think President should take a stand and let us know.
Thank you so much. Now on Telco's intention to raise tariffs, what's your view? Because you are also
right.
Will I say stakeholder?
Yes, we are stakeholder. For me, honestly, if you ask me which of the sector in Nigeria is performing well, I think it's telecos. And if anything happens to telecos, a lot of things will happen. Even this our operation here, it has issue. Our communication has issue.
We are talking about
is telecos operating outside Nigeria economy? That's the question. So if other sector are increasing their tariff, NNPC, AEDC, so telcos also operate in the same thing. So the fact remains that we should hold government responsible. Don't blame telcos because they also need money, to buy diesel. We know how much diesel is costing. They have about thousands of mass they need to manage, and if you go there, it's always working 2-4-7. They also have staff they also pay. So for me, I don't think I will not go against telcos increasing their tariff. I will only say government should look at the energy cost in Nigeria. Once there's energy cost, it affects every other thing in the country. They have to buy their diesel. They also operate. They also do forex. They also get dollar to operate. So the thing is this: don't blame them. Look at government that increase that remove fuel subsidy and also increase FC tariff. These are the things we need to look at. For me, I think telcos they are doing well. And let me tell you, the danger of telcos not having fund is a problem. They have infrastructure they must manage. If anything happens to those infrastructure, a lot of things will be shut down, and it will be much more painful.
The economy will be shut down.
So for me, look at banks. Do you think banks can operate without telcos now?
For you to even make your
transfer, USSD, everything. So for me, let government do the needful, and let telco also follow what government is doing in terms of creating an enabling environment for business operation. And that's why I see a country like Germany. They will say interest in our country is 4%. And you come to Nigeria, interest is about 20-30%. How do you expect people to operate? They cannot even say in long time they want to recoup because they wouldn't know what happened next because we have policy some and so. So the serious issue is that government should do their part. For me, telcos have been doing well. They need to also up their game in terms of infrastructure. If anything happens to telcos infrastructure, Nigeria pay daily for it. So, but if they want to increase, let them be humane. That's what I would say.
Yes, and also what I also find baffling is the fact that customs at the time that Naira is at least almost working, because today we see that Naira has been depreciated. The next instance is also going up. But what I still cannot rally around is the fact that customs too has increased their own tariff to 1,400.
I think the fact
why
is
Naira exchanges for 1,100
let's just say the reality.
Why is there no parity?
Let's say the reality. This government is conscious of getting
revenue, yes,
at Nigerian expense. That's a serious problem. And let me now tell you what is happening. There's a serious issue between our monetary policy and our fiscal policy.
Yes.
When you could see that even Cardoso is saying that the inflation is caused by government palliative intervention.
Yes, buying food in.
That is what I'm saying, that there's a serious contradiction. monetary policy is trying all its way to make sure inflation is coming down.
Why?
Why custom
Yes.
is increasing the tariff? So the fiscal policy is
1,400.
bringing it down. Why the monetary is planning the solution? Why our trade policy is just standing aloof? There's a serious problem. Until Nigerians find it important to come together and everybody take their stand and follow it holistically.
Because again, they're still not going to make any impact, because a situation, okay, you want to make purchase, you buy dollar at 1,200. Now you still have to go and buy again to make up, to pay to customs.
It's a serious issue. So if someone is bringing solution, someone is taking it down, and that's why we always have issue with. I have issue with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Sometimes he doesn't consult all his people in the financial sector or in the monetary sector to make up some decision. Remember, there's a fiscal pronouncement from him, which is a fuel subsidies gone. You know, the fiscal policy. So you don't really look at what is on ground. You make a premature decision that has engulfed Nigeria now, that everybody is paying dearly in terms of purchasing power. Show me an household in Nigeria that is not crying, you know, about the purchasing power. So I think it's a serious issue that government must start looking at practically, that monetary policy must always look into what fiscal policy is doing to make their decision. The decision should be informed decision, not only.
Because we are seeing a situation whereby even though the dollar is going well by considering what is presently exchanging for, it has not impacted on the price of goods and services. It's still high in the market. Right.
When you say it's going well, it's quite surprising, because it was 700 or 600 when this government actually met it. Okay. Nice. As of today, it's 1,400. It's about 1,400. In fact, we have to do double check it. Now, until there is stability for a particular period, there's this speculation that it might go up, it might come down. So if you are a seller in the market and you buy item at 1,400, how much will you sell it? You still consider that price. So price will still not come down until we have stable price of foreign forex for like 2 months. I will now go and buy at 1,200. As I'm selling, I will still go and buy at 1,200. So if I'm selling and dollar has increased to 1,400, I will also change, because I don't know how much I'm going to buy. It's a basic economy that if you buy, what you buy is what you will sell. And while you are selling, you are still looking at how much you still go and buy. So it's a common sense that until we have stability, price stability, it's a big issue.
Wow, thank you so much. One other story I'd like us to discuss is the issue of a clampdown on the journalists. The Punch has the story today: abductions, detentions, echoes of Abacha era media clampdown with sound under Tinubu. Same thing with a Vanguard newspaper talking about a FIJ journalist that has been in detention since the arrest by the military. What is coming at a time that Nigeria joined the rest of the world to celebrate World Press Freedom Day on Friday? Is the press actually free under this democratic institution?
It's quite saddening, because
now,
we have
also had the issue of Olatunji, who was also arrested by the military, and for weeks or even months, the military kept mum.
Even the issue of Shegun of First News. The fact remains that
that's what
this president must be uphanded in terms of the way journalists.
Shegun Olatunji was detained for 14 days.
That's what I'm saying.
Daniel Juku 4. We have Kasachi Anyagolu 8 hours. Debre Achada unspecified. Godwin Tia unspecified. Precious Eze 10 days. Salihu Ayatulahi and Ladisa Jaja, they were detained for 2 days. Saint Mien Pamo 54 days. Abdul Razak Babatunde 10 days. Lukman Bola Kale 10 days.
I think one of you is still with the thing is this.
Under this present administration, what is
exactly what I'm saying. You know, President Bola might think
who was also a newspaper premium. He's keeping me.
The fact means that it is not President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but his body language is not bringing discipline. That is what we are saying.
He's not speaking now.
Most of this thing is by states.
He's not speaking
by states and other political bigwigs. But the fact is that he must come up and say something. And people like Ajuri Ngilali should also look at this, because it's painting him bad as well. I knew that even Ajuri Ngilali have suffered moving from one particular station to the other. It was going part and before you now get this appointment. So they should do something, because once you gag the press, you have gagged the whole Nigerians. Because these are the people who tell us what is going on and give us a balanced analysis of issues. So we must find a way to, and it also happened at the time when we have a newspaper, a media owner as Minister of Information. It's quite funny. And so he should also intervene a lot. In as much as we don't say a journalist should also record or report what doesn't fake news, but I think there should be fair hearing. Once you arrest somebody, why will you detain somebody for 54 days? That's quite too much, almost 2 months. So there should be better, once you arrest somebody, charge him to court the second day. Let him face the case.
And besides, the media or the profession are also regulate itself, because the situation whereby you go to press with news, you must be sure.
It's even have stages. Editor is there, political is there, and general editor is there. So I think they should also maximize that.
We are surprised that the president is just keeping mute.
I think there should be a position on it from him. There should be a position for a position from the president, from the spokesperson of the president, and from the minister of the information, because he's coming from that angle. We are not even talking about bad salary now. We are talking about press freedom.
And this one is just barely a year.
Barely a year, I'm telling you. So it's quite appalling. So I think the president should do something about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Obviously, with this, we've come to the end of Inside Nigeria today on Monday, May 6, 2024, on Leadership Television. My name is InsideNIGERIA, because I always have the pleasure of having company and political economist Ali Alliance. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you same time. So until we come your way again, same time tomorrow, same station. Let's wish you a beautiful day. Don't forget to join us for News on the Hour on this frequency. Bye. My name is InsideNIGERIA.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You